What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics show live here on DSM-Media's Philadelphia YouTube channel. Guys, if you are new to the channel, if you like the content, if you want to be interactive throughout today's show, first and foremost, make sure to support by smashing that subscribe button. We are on the road to our first 100 subscribers here on the new channel, so we greatly appreciate each and every one of you. It is the best spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen with your host. I am one half of them this morning, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty, Joel Embiid, Embiid Maxey, combining for 86 against the number one defense in the NBA, in the Minnesota Timberwolves. Man, we're going to break this game down. Embiid's perception around the league, MVP voting, where do they rank as a duo? Lots to get into with this Sixers team. Where do you guys stand right now? Are you still wait and see until the postseason comes around, or are you enjoying it in the moment and truly believe that this team is different than past years? The Eagles, Christmas Day, take on the Giants at the Link. 3 games remaining before the postseason. Can they right the ship? Can they still win the NFC East? And where do you stand on that team as well, man? They had a little get-together, a little rally down at the NovaCare complex the other day with Talking 215 Live, trying to get the vibes right. So we'll see. We'll see what the Eagles can do. We'll predict that game a little bit. But, my man, happy Friday, and how are you feeling?
Happy Friday, my man. I am feeling pretty good. We're finally to the end of the work week, and this week was pretty long. So I'm excited that we're to the end of this one and closer to that Christmas break and closer to a weekend filled with sports action, man. There's a lot going on this weekend. They got a little bit for everybody, right? You got NBA, you got NFL. Even got my favorite Premier League team, man. Arsenal's taking on Liverpool this Saturday. So I got some noon Saturday action to get into.
Sounds like a big matchup. I don't know too much about the soccer landscape, but those two names stick out to me.
It is. It's a huge matchup, man. And I'm sure there is, if there are people out there that watch the Premier League, I'm sure there's a ton of Liverpool, a ton of Arsenal. It's 2 of the biggest clubs in the world. So it'll be a big one, but nonetheless, we got plenty of action aside from that as well. I'm looking forward to it, man, and looking forward to Christmas, man. It's a holiday season. Watch some Christmas movies, maybe listen to some Eagles Christmas songs or something.
There you go. Change the vibes. Change the vibes or something.
Bring the positive vibes back.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone out there. Kind of slipped my mind for a second. Does it feel like Christmas time to you?
No, there's no snow. It's not like super cold. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't.
No, I don't even want to say Christmas time. I guess, like, does it feel like Christmas Eve and Christmas are like 2 days away? Like that was kind of the twin.
You know,
I don't think so over here either.
I do wonder, man. Like, maybe when I have kids, maybe things will change and
the age problem.
Feel like Christmas more. You know, you don't get to, like, in my house, it's just me and Alexis and the dog, and it's like we're not, surprising anybody. We're not like.
Is Rocket getting anything from Santa?
He actually he got a new Carhartt vest, so he's gonna be stylish on his walks.
Yeah.
You got to keep him warm. It's pretty cold out. It's not freezing, but it is cold out. And then we're gonna go to Marshall's and get him a bunch of toys and stuff as well, toys and treats. So he'll get spoiled on Christmas.
Yeah, Rocket's gonna live it up.
Yeah. But I don't think he even knows what's really going on. He just thinks
absolutely not
he's the guy in the world. So
throw some eggnog in his bowl, throw a little liquor in there, a little vodka in there, and see where the night takes him.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Get him a Christmas dinner plate, man.
Yeah,
there we go.
You know me, full of ideas, man. But anyway, happy holidays, everyone. Let's start with the Sixers 127-113 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. On Wednesday night, Scotty. Joel Embiid, light 51, 17 of 25 from the floor, 17 of 18 from the free throw line. It's got a lot of people up in arms, man. We're going to get into that later on in the show, but that's a huge talking point across NBA circles, Twitter, and everything like that. So it's been pretty comical to keep an eye on, but it wasn't just him, man. Like this game might have been their best all-around game, and here's why. Were the role players perfect? Not by any stretch, right? Like, we've seen games where they've had Nick Batum and Kelly Oubre step up. They've had games where Patrick Beverley knocks down a couple threes and this person's going off and whatever. The role players, Tobias Harris, 9 points, 4 of 10 shooting. Kelly Oubre, 3 of 6 shooting, 7 points. Like, DeAnthony Melton got hurt at halftime, 4 points. No one else was a huge, huge factor.
Yeah.
But that running mate, that Robin, that Batman B to Batman A, Tyrese Maxey chipping in with a slight 35 on 50% shooting from the floor next to Embiid's standout night. That's what has been missing, Scotty. Like, we love the depth. We love the spacing. We love the cutting. We love the chemistry. We love it all surrounding Joel Embiid. Those are the pieces that you need to fit. And on nights when he's got it going, when he's scoring 40, 45, and they're all contributing, it's a beautiful thing to watch, and they're winning games.
Yeah.
But that dude getting his own next to Embiid while putting up just historic numbers is a difference maker for me. When is the last time that Joel Embiid has been able to drop anywhere near these numbers and someone else step up on the same exact 48 minutes? Like last year, what was it, game 4 against Boston at home? Embiid and Harden both had a night, but I think, Embiid at 32 or 34? Not that that's slight, but that's his average, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking these Joel Embiid nights, the 45, the 51. He's never had a running mate get anywhere close, probably, to 35 of his own on efficient shooting. To do that together against that team, that defense, right? Joel made it a point to go directly into Cat's chest, into Rudy's chest, and get them in foul trouble early on in this game. For Maxey and Embiid to kind of flip-flop when it's each other's time, right? It wasn't a fight or a hassle for the ball. When Maxey was going, Embiid was making sure to get him the ball. When it was Embiid's time, it was pick and pop time at the free throw line in the two-man game. For them to do that against that team, Scotty, was a difference-making moment for me on Wednesday.
Yeah, no, I think this was definitely a signature game for this season so far, and a signature win. Obviously, it's at home against the T-Wolves, but this was a healthy T-Wolves team, right? And Edwards came out here; he was playing with energy, and Rudy Gobert just simply couldn't stay on the court, and that's just the dilemma you face when you're going up against Embiid.
Better figure it out.
If you have another big man that's going to have to defend him, it's a mismatch at the end of the day. Beat against anybody in the NBA is a mismatch one-on-one, obviously. If you double team them, they do have guys that they can spread the ball around to, but Minnesota didn't go at it this way, right?
No.
They felt that they could guard these guys one-on-one between Maxey and Embiid, and they couldn't do it, right? And that's what I saw. Naz Reid, great, good player, good role player, right? Cat, great player. Gobert, great player, until they come up against the reigning MVP that is playing better than he did when he won his MVP last year. So to see Embiid come out with that type of mentality, I told you at first I thought he was being a little soft, but as the game went on,
I thought early on in
I
the
texted
game
you during the game, and said, I want to see him, be a little bit stronger. But he was getting contact, he was drawing fouls, and it kind of got him into his flow of the game. And then from there, you started to see the and ones. You started to see the aggressiveness, the dunks, the block attempts. Man, just going up and contesting shots. Man, he's not afraid to get dunked on. I think that's the biggest takeaway from that attempt of dunking on Embiid. There's a bunch of videos like almost the dunk of the almost. It's not horseshoe.
I guess a lot of guys would have gotten out of the way, Scotty. A lot of guys would have backed up. Bro.
He's crying for a foul, man. The ball slipped out of his hand.
Oh yeah, he lost the ball.
He didn't get fouled on that play. The ball left his hand before it even came down, and he turned it over. So, shout out to Ant. I think he's a great player. Obviously, that was fun to watch him play. But that was the big takeaway for me in that situation, was Embiid just willingness. He doesn't care if he gets embarrassed out there. He's not out there.
A lot of guys would have gotten out of the way, man.
Yeah, I agree, man. So this is what you're looking for. Obviously, you would love to see like a guy like Tobias Harris, maybe even Kelly Oubre. I think Kelly Oubre trying to figure out, how to get himself back acclimated since returning. Tobias Harris, once again, I'm not going to sit here and pound this table with Tobias Harris anymore of this trade idea. either it's going to happen or it's not.
Mhm.
At this point, I'm not going to sit here and say every show we need to fucking trade Tobias Harris and who should we trade him for. As long as he's here, he needs to play fucking better. It's as
Yeah.
simple as that. You can't, like, 9 points, 3 points, 3 shots, like this type of stuff can't happen. And I
No.
don't understand the mentality that he comes into these games with, where even at halftime, I don't know if you listened to the broadcast closely, but I did hear the tidbit about Bobby Jackson at halftime, basically
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
Tobias Harris needs to come. We need Tobias Harris in this second half to come out aggressive and help Maxey and Embiid take this game home. And boom, this guy comes out, still doesn't do what he's
No.
supposed to. 9
No.
points in this game, 10 shots, 1 3-point attempt. He's not fulfilling his part of the team.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. And the reason it's a bigger problem, I would say, is because you do have guys behind him that can come in and fill that role. You have Marcus Morris in this game, man. Shout out to Marcus Morris, man, because he's really, really starting to impress me. And I think me and you were both on the way out on this guy very quickly when he got here. But game high plus 23 in this game. He comes out, and you texted me at this point in the game where Marcus Morris pump fake and Edwards gets him in the air, takes a dribble in, boom, mid-range jump shot, cashes it. He looks so comfortable in doing what Tobias Harris should be doing, right? He looks so comfortable in that role that Tobias Harris should be fulfilling, but Marcus Morris,
and he's a better shooter from deep. It's the bottom line.
Simple as that, man. He's a better shooter. Like,
right. Like, think about it. You have a guy like Marcus Morris, you have Kelly Oubre Jr., you have Nick Batum, who are like they're small forwards, those two, but they can play the 4 if necessary, right? They're long enough to, like, there's not much of a difference between them and Tobias Harris in length and body type, right?
And
so
even Rocco knows his role, right? Like, he'll take the 3-pointers that come to him.
Exactly.
And that's the problem with Tobias. It's not like skill level. It's the willingness to do what you need to for the team.
I was just going to say that, man.
What the team needs.
You bring in Harden and PJ Tucker, and Tobias kind of gets this new assigned role last year under Doc Rivers, where he's kind of put to the corner, but he's utilized in the corner, and it's what his role is: catch and shoot threes, and he succeeded at it, right? Like, he shot around 40% from deep, and he did what was necessary. Now, maybe that's not what he wants to do. Maybe that we know his game is more off the dribble, in the mid-range, stuff like that, but you still have to be willing to let it fly from 3 when you're on the floor with Joel Embiid, who takes up so much space in the painted area. To 1 3-point attempt, like you mentioned, 3 total attempts against Chicago, it's nowhere near good enough. And then you'll get this spurt from him where he scores 20 in 3 straight games. And then you'll get another spurt where he scores 8 in 2 straight games. It's too much up and down. Dude, Tobias Harris averaging 15 points a game is just where I need him in this lineup.
But
15 a night.
But he never hits 15. It's
either
8 or 23, right? Like, it's never 15.
Absolutely 16. Not. He is never right on that line. It's way under or it's way above, and that's the confusing part. There's never like a 13 shot Tobias Harris night.
Yeah.
There's 3 to 7 shot Tobias Harris nights, and there's 18 shot, 20 shot Tobias Harris nights when he feels like he's got it going. There is never 12, 13, 14 shots. Maybe he goes 7 for 7 for 15, 7 for 14 from the field, gives you 16 points. It's never that. It's never steady Eddie in the middle where I would need a guy like Tobias.
You know what else, man? It's just like the lack of improvement as well. Like, we've seen Embiid improve.
Absolutely.
Like, we've seen Maxey improve. Like, even Embiid at age 30, right, has improved. He's taken his game to another level.
He's improved from an MVP level.
We're not asking you to come out and turn yourself into an MVP or even be an all-star. We're not even asking you to do that. We're just asking you to improve. When I have to sit here and watch Tobias take the same bad shots, right, that just totally mess up the rhythm of the team from mid-range, right? Because I'm telling you this, man, any mid-range shot by Tobias, when I watch it and he misses, I'm just like, well, that could be a mid-range shot for
Scotty.
Embiid, or that could
Yeah,
be a mid-range
I
shot for
mean,
Maxey. I don't even want to see it. The driving into the lane, missing layups, going up soft. I'm tired of that. But the biggest thing, man, those goddamn charge calls, man, in open court. He runs into it every single time, and it gets called every single time. And that's just one example where it's like, how do you not go back over the last few seasons of like just watching yourself do this? Do you watch film? And if so, how do you get into the game, and how does it not burst your fucking bubble every time that you go down? But he doesn't even realize that it is a charge when he does it.
no,
He
he argues
argues
it.
the call.
Argues it every time.
He
And
argues
it's
the
like,
call. But you get called for like one per
Yeah.
game. It's crazy.
it's
me,
a testament to
that's
the
just
fact
one
that you
example.
said nothing has changed with Tobias Harris over his
Yeah.
tenure here. Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nothing.
he's
He
in different
always
shape.
reverts back.
Right. He's in different shape than he was when he first got here. Other than that,
He's a little bit better defender. He's a better defender now.
Yeah.
That's where I'll give him credit.
Sure. But
I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
No,
We got
I agree.
good defenders on the bench.
I agree.
And I do like the point. No Batum, no Rocco in this game as well against a very lengthy
I was just about to say
roster
that. You don't have two role players. D-Melt gets hurt in the first half, doesn't play the entire second half. Kelly, not much of a factor. Tobias, not much of a factor. And you still were able to defeat one of the top teams in the Western Conference. Not just defeat them, had them going to their bench in the final 2 minutes because they were just waving the white flag at that point. I want to go back to what you said about them guarding Embiid, though, and the way that Minnesota decided to attack them.
Yeah.
And yes, sir, man, we're starting off positive today, Martian Lynch.
We're bringing the good vibes, Martian.
Yeah. But you go back to that Maxey, to that Embiid point, right? And I think Maxey has to play a role in this as well, with how he was shooting and how he was creating in space, because you mentioned the fact that they weren't double teaming him, and they weren't. The first half, they definitely were not. But in that third quarter, when he was into a rhythm, they started to send guys off the wing to the elbow, but they wouldn't fully commit to it. And I think that's where Minnesota fucked up. Like you cannot start to send somebody, but then get caught in no man's land and whatever.
I think between that and Ant Edwards jacking up threes on the other side of the ball, I think he was settling. I think those two mixture of things. I think you're right. Yeah,
but it was also incredible to see them make that defense hesitant and confused because of what they had going on.
Still moving the ball, even though Maxey and Embiid ran this show in this game, right? The ball was still moving around. I know exactly what you're talking about, because there was a play that got highlighted. I forget. I'm sorry not to give the credit. I forget who highlighted it. But basically, it might have been Austin Krell. But there was like 9 or 6 or 9. I'm getting the number backwards. Flip it upside down. 6 or 9. But nonetheless, 6 motions in this offense where there's 6 instances where a player on the offense is moving around, making the defense adjust or think during one possession. And that just speaks to the offense that Nick Nurse is having these guys running. But the ball still comes back to Embiid.
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful system, right?
Absolutely.
And I will say this about Minnesota. If there's one team that should go about it and defend Embiid one-on-one, it probably is Minnesota, right? They have the one guy, like, outside of Al Horford and that stigma with Boston, Rudy Gobert is the best defensive big man in the league.
And then you throw in a 7-footer in Cat who has weight on him. Nas Reed's a set. They have bodies
with his long ass arms coming over and reaching in on everything.
Passes,
man.
They have bodies to throw at him, and to see that was a huge positive, because that's something he can continue to build on, man. And you mentioned the dunks earlier. He took something into that game.
Yeah, he did.
When is the last time you've seen Joel Embiid try to throw down that ferociously that many times in a single game?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
You can see it, man. You could see they came into this game. I would say him, Maxey. I mean, you saw Maxey late in the game with the and ones screaming to the crowd. He's very interactive with the crowd. I think the Sixers took this game And I think they
Personally.
looked at it as like a measuring stick. Like, we need to prove
Yep.
we have played a bunch of shitty teams the last few weeks. We need to prove that we are like this
Yeah.
against the great teams. And they
And,
did that,
and
man.
again, you did it semi-shorthanded. Once D-Melt went out, you were missing 3 pretty key role players, 2 very key
Yeah.
role players. You add in a Robert Covington. I think the one part of the one comment I saw by TR about Nurse moving Joel to the foul line
Yeah.
is such a difference-making piece of how this offense is ran. And Joel brings the ball up at times. Joel touches the ball at the top of the key. But a lot of it has to do with getting them into the 2-man set and getting that pick and roll established. Man, tell me if I'm crazy. You don't see a ton of Joel Embiid getting the entry pass or getting the ball in no man's land, Scotty. You don't see it a ton, right? He's either established at the foul line or there's a reason for why he's touching the ball outside of the 3-point line. There's no more, they're sending a double team and the spacing's messed up and he's kind of getting the ball in that 20-foot area, like beyond the free throw line, but inside the 3-point line. And then he's got to back down from there and he's got to work from that point. You don't see that much anymore. And that's a testament to the coach's offense.
Yeah. Yeah.
1,000%.
Moving around and not going one-on-one. I think it is a big thing. And I did pull up this comment from TR just because, you talk about them not attacking Joel at the rim. And that's kind of what I was talking about with Ant Edwards settling for threes. But to be fair, when they go to the rim, I mean, he's contesting everything. And they weren't getting the calls, right? You saw Ant try to dunk on Joel Embiid, and it didn't get called.
To Brett's point, he was locked in on both sides.
That's up to your own perception, but nonetheless, I think that kind of deterred them from attacking the rim. And the thing about the free throws, right? This game is the funniest case because it's like he scored 51, he made 17 out of 18 free throws. Take 17 free throws away, he had 34 points. So
he still hit you for his average.
What are we talking about there?
And
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, let's not act like he didn't go 17 of 25 from the fucking floor. All right, let's cut that part out of it. Let's not act like he hit 17 or 18 free throws and shot like 40% from the floor.
Yeah.
No, dude shot 17 to 25. Oh, the other game, like to Brett's point here, the other game against a bad team. See, no one wants to talk about when he only shoots 6 free throws and goes 18 of 23 from the floor. No one likes to discuss that. And it goes back to the point, you and I were talking about it before the show, and I think it's a perfect time to get into that conversation. All it has to do, all the hatred, all of the whiny, annoying NBA Twitter circles and other fans, all their reasoning is because Joel Embiid makes his free throws at a very, very high percentage that most 7-footers have never been able to accomplish in the NBA, in NBA history. Giannis shoots more free throws than Joel Embiid. He has shot more free throws this year than Joel Embiid, but nobody cares because he shoots it nowhere near the clip Joel does. They're only annoyed by it and frustrated by it because he can shoot 90% from the line, and he's technically not supposed to, right? When you're a 7-foot center, you've watched Shaq shoot free throws. You watch how Rudy Gobert shoots free throws. You watch how these other 7-footers shoot free throws. They don't shoot 90%. He does. Giannis, big body, doesn't shoot 90%. But he's able to accomplish that. And that's where all of their frustration comes from. And all I got to say is sucks. Does he get calls that aren't there? Sure. What player doesn't get a favorable whistle from time to time?
Yeah.
But the other shit, man, they're fouls. No one can stop him. The perfect example of it Rudy Gobert fouls Joel Embiid for his third foul on Wednesday night. He has to be taken out because he has 3 fouls in the first half or so. He's bitching on camera about the call. He's bitching on the bench about the call, and I believe it was Kyle Neubeck that tweeted out that was right there. Gobert went to the bench complaining about the call, and his coaches and teammates on the bench told him he fouled Embiid. It's the perfect, yeah, they are fouls. When you stick your arm out and he does his swing through, it's a foul.
It's as simple as this, man. The picture that goes around Twitter of, I don't even know who the player is, but he has like one finger on Embiid's wrist, right? And that's like the big, yeah, if they're calling fouls like this. I just want to be clear. Even if it's one fucking finger, it's a foul. Like in that picture, it's one finger, but it is a foul. Like it is a foul. It's where the game is. And my biggest complaint with the foul shot thing, it's like you said, obviously it's because Embiid makes them. My biggest complaint is when the people like say that the Sixers are so hard to watch and, you know, the game it's like a chore to watch. How's it a chore to watch the Sixers? Because Embiid shoots 11.7 free throws a game. Giannis shoots 11.4 free throws a game, right?
And it's ugly.
He's played 3 games more than Embiid, so he has shot more free throws on the season. Giannis is second in free throw attempts. Damian Lillard is third in free throw attempts at 9. So 9 plus 12, that makes 21. So how are the Milwaukee Bucks not a pain to watch if you just hate free throws? You hate fouls and free throws, right? Devin Booker averages 8 free throws per game. Kevin Durant averages 9 free throws per game. Is it a drag to watch the fucking Phoenix Suns? Like, that is my point here. You look down this list of the top scorers in the NBA. Yes, Embiid leads the way with the most free throw attempts. Embiid leads the way with the most points per game.
Also,
not only that,
do you know why?
Everybody under him, there's like 7 guys, there's 8 guys that also shoot over 8 free throws per game, and these guys are not centers. They're not working in the paint like
exactly
to get fouled. So it's so stupid, man. And I promise you, I'm blocking every single person that puts out these videos of these 3-second clips of one play from one game and says this is Embiid. No, it's disrespectful, man. That's where the discourse around Embiid is getting. It's fucking respectful, and it's tiring. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of Twitter, quite honestly. The troll accounts, like, just constantly. I just go down my timeline and I just get fucking annoyed because there's no sensible conversations happening around basketball, around football, around sports in general. And it's tiring, man. It feels like people like this Jason Tempf, I think is his name. I can't remember, from The Volume, right? You go out here with this fucking agenda and you just push it with these like 3-second clips, man. These 3-second clips, and then you box score check. You don't watch the game. You say Embiid's game is ugly, but he's modeling his game after fucking Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Kevin Durant, Hakeem Olajuwon. You can go back and look at these guys' moves in the paint. You can go back and look at their moves in the mid-range. He mimics all of their games. But yet, you'll have the biggest talking heads in basketball community coming out saying this is bothering them.
Yeah.
It's basketball, man. Yeah. It's superstar whistle. It's been happening for years. And I
said to you before the show,
player in the NBA. It's clear.
I said to you before the show, man, I'll argue with anybody that of all of the stars, Joel has one of the most unfavorable whistles at times.
The thing. He could get so many more
whistles. Like when I watch Giannis just bulldoze into guys, when I watch Tatum use the left arm to shove and push off, but if Embiid is driving and someone falls over, it's an offensive foul call every time.
If he uses his size at all, it's an offensive foul, period. So he has to. And that's the thing, man. How do you sit there and you watch Giannis Antetokounmpo play basketball and you say that Embiid, his game is ugly?
Yeah. Here's the thing,
What?
Scotty.
Giannis doesn't play basketball. He plays fucking football on a basketball court, my man. Like, he has no fucking skill.
No back.
My eyes are popping out of my head. I see myself.
No,
my eyes are popping out of my head.
I love the passion.
It's malpractice, man. It's malpractice.
I love the passion because the dude is disrespected around the league, but it is funny, man. Like, I do know I have a buddy that lives in Tennessee, right? I knew him, his family would go up to the Poconos because his family's from there, but they live in Tennessee. They'd come up to Poconos the same week every week I was there in the summer, so we became friends. He loves Embiid. Like, loves Embiid. He was texting me the other night about him. So it is funny to have people around there that do respect him. But also, Scotty, the basic thing you have to ask yourself, you have these trolls on Twitter, you have these nerds. I don't know if you saw the dude that had his 6-unit bet of the year on under Embiid points, rebounds, and
play of all time.
And it cashed midway through the third quarter the other night. It was hilarious. But the only thing you have to look at, what do players say, or most players in the league say? What did Ant Edwards say after this game? Yeah. No idea how they lose a game. He's a monster. He's a beast. Said nothing about the free throws, nothing about the foul calls. The All-Star game, was it last year? Not first overall pick was it LeBron? Whoever had the first pick took him. Do you know why? Like, I know it's like a fun game now, blah, blah, blah. But there's team captains. He was picked first above everybody else. Why? Because of his talent and his skill set.
Man. It's so funny. Like, even the playoffs, like, I get it, man. He hasn't had like that signature MVP moment in the playoffs, but like, people just act like other players don't get carried in certain moments throughout postseasons, right? Like, Embiid has never had that moment where he gets carried by a person. I think he does have a guy that can do it now in Tyrese Maxey. I think he's unlocked that. But it's funny, man. People act like Giannis wasn't carried by Chris Middleton at a certain point throughout their run. Drew Holiday. They act like, who else am I thinking of here? Jokic. He's a clear Jamal Murray in the playoffs last year. Did he not carry at certain points throughout the postseason? So, like, that's what I'm talking about, man. This is all stuff that gets swept under the rug. We have these generalized big statements of, oh, well, in the postseason, Embiid, you won't see those free throws. You'll see the numbers go down. It's corny, man. People don't put any facts behind what they're saying. But I did want to say about Tyrese Maxey, man, very impressive game. I think he had 17 points in the second quarter. Definitely kept us afloat, got us the lead going into halftime. But the ability to score the rock, man, finish through contact. The most impressive thing for me in this game, man, is the guys that he was going against in this game. I mean, Jaden McDaniels is a top-notch defender, lengthy guy in this NBA. He is the epitome of 3-and-D, right? Maybe not 3, but definitely defense, attacking the rim.
Okay against us.
Yeah, so he's an impressive player, and Maxey just fully did whatever he wanted against that defense and him. So, Maxey is that guy, and I do think Maxey can be that guy that can carry Embiid at times throughout the postseason, that can help this team get past that hump. But yeah, man, impressive win to say the least. I know the discourse around Embiid is it's infuriating. I will say that. Like, it is just so infuriating that, executives around the NBA can sit here, 63 people vote Embiid as the front runner for MVP right now, first place. But you'll have Jason Temp from The Volume, and you'll have who's the other guy, Kevin O'Connor, just these other talking heads around the NBA where it's like, you have to ask yourself, what the fuck do these guys know about basketball at the end of the day? Well, because if you're sitting here disrespecting a guy like this at the pinnacle of the game right now, the best player in the world right now, you don't know ball, man. You don't respect the game, and that's
and a couple of people who I don't know, like, they're obviously nameless at the moment. They need their MVP votes taken away and stripped, because although he is running away with it with 63 first place votes, and no one's very close at the moment, there was a handful of people that have him fifth. Let me say that number again. Fifth.
Like, based on what?
Your vote is revoked. It's gone. It's stripped. You're no longer allowed in this process.
It's haterade, man. It's crazy.
Third or fourth is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Fifth.
Who are the players that they're putting over him? Like who?
I would guess.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's really good.
Joker,
Giannis has been good, but he's not been better than Embiid.
Those would be the guys probably.
Luka's been great. I would say he is the one guy that maybe you could argue up against Embiid right now. Him and SGA.
Yeah.
But like five people, like 4 people are ahead of Embiid. Like,
yeah, that's nuts.
You can argue them, but Embiid is still ahead. Like,
Scotty's got weird, what man. Now? 4 straight games of 40 plus. And Wednesday was 51, or is it 3 straight? I forget, but he's
the 30 and 10 games.
He's now averaging more points than he is minutes played. He's averaging another season high, career high in points per game.
He's averaging
probably going to be a scoring champion again.
35
Assists
points per game
are up. Rebounds are up. True shooting percentage is up. He still plays hard on both ends. I mean, they're a top 3 seed in the East, and they're only a game behind Milwaukee and 2 games behind the Boston Celtics at the moment. So, like, he's breaking Wilt Chamberlain records. He's breaking Sixers records. Like, it's unbelievable what he's doing. 3 straight with 40 plus 14, 30 plus,
and man,
10 rebounds.
I just want to confirm here. I wanted to look at this because I see he's top 5 in double-doubles in the NBA this year. Just want to confirm. Yeah, this is the most he's rebounded per game in his career. It's by a small margin from 2021-22 where he averaged 11.7. My bad. 2018-19 he averaged 13.6 rebounds per game. But
really?
That was 64 games played. That was kind of his breakout year, 27 and 14 in 2018-19 season. That was the most. But nonetheless, second highest rebounding mark. What I was trying to get at, he's been impressing me on the boards, man.
Absolutely, man.
The energy, the willingness to dominate every facet of the game. Defensively, rebounding, scoring, passing, all of it, man. He's covering all the bases right now.
What he's doing right now, Scotty.
I'll say it. Best player in the world.
Right?
The world right now. In the world.
And what he has done this year, improving on his game from an MVP.
He's 30 years old. 29.
He is now one of the guys. He's always been a guy you've wanted to win a championship. We want the Sixers to win a championship, and we've loved Embiid ever since he got here. But he's now reached a point with his play and how he is this year where you couldn't want a championship more for anybody else.
Yeah.
There's not another human on the planet you want this for more, right? Yeah. Bryce Harper and the Phillies, Joel Embiid and the Sixers.
Yeah.
I know I sound ridiculous not including Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, but
he has time though.
Right. He has time.
And I'd say that very lightly. I know that you don't just get opportunities to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
He's out of those guys. He's very young in his career.
He's been here for 2. He's been here for 2 minutes compared to Embiid. Right. So when you look at it that way, like you said, age 30, like this window of dominant 7-foot injury, he ain't going to be this way at 34, 35. So you've got
maybe. I don't know, man. Maybe.
It
feels like, knock on wood, it feels like he's getting like more spry, taking better care of his body as he ages. But I do feel you, man. Like at the end of the day, you can't control that at that frame, what can happen for sure. Like the knee, just a little knee tweaks, those things do add up over time. So I do feel you, man. We need to see him. We need to see him get a championship or at least get to the NBA Finals, man.
And dude, I'm telling you, you know how we talk about his mental a lot on the floor.
Yeah,
Scotty, I'm telling you, man, if this dude and this team can just get past the second round. Now, obviously, we need him to be different this year in the second round, healthy, right in the second round. Yeah. But if he can get over that hump, I believe it's going to unlock something up here. Because that has to, when you watch other things weigh on this dude, that has to weigh on him more so than anything.
Yeah.
the conversation about not being past this bump in the road every year. What I'm thinking is if he gets past that bump, what's he look like in an Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah.
Is that weight just lifted and now he is just it's go time, right?
I do think
That's what I want to see.
I think it is one of those things, man, where we do, like you said, we need to get him to the postseason fully healthy. We just the year they play the Raptors in the first round, if you could just escape that series without him
without an elbow, right?
Like if we many of those moments we could go back, right? Even the year of the Kawhi shot, the flu game, right, where he has to shit himself, right? He's having the diarrhea and shit. Like just the most inopportune things has happened to this guy in his career in Atlanta.
And listen, man, I'm not ducking anybody with how this dude is playing and with how this team is playing.
Yeah.
But could we, I'm asking the NBA gods here, could we at least not see Boston until the Eastern Conference Finals?
I literally, whenever you were talking about, the weight lifted off his shoulder, I literally was thinking, can we just not play the Boston Celtics in the second round? Can that just not happen?
Can I get them in the ECF? Can I get them then? Why?
I'll take the Bucks second round, man. Over the Celtics.
I'll take the
Bucks all day.
Yes. All day. Again, I'm not trying to sound weak or ducking anybody. I'll take them. I'll embrace the matchup. But can I just get them
it's like
the next round?
I think it is like when it's Boston, I think there is just like this just insurmountable amount of pressure, especially second round and up, right? Because that's all we know. And it's all we've experienced is losing to Boston either in the first or the second round of the playoffs. So I do agree with you. I think just getting past the second round would be a weight lifted off his shoulder. Maybe it could, maybe we would see something we've never seen in the playoffs before.
And by the way, that Boston team, excuse me if there's any kids out there watching, but fuck you.
Yeah.
They are so, I mean, you and I think both had the Kings the other night. No Tatum, Al Horford out. Second half of a back-to-back where they went to overtime with the Warriors. And they score 144 against the Kings. Fully healthy in Sacramento.
No Tatum, no Horford.
Well, what? 60% from three? 60% from the floor? What? Derek White can't miss?
28-7.
Kristaps doesn't miss?
6 for 9 from the three-point line for Derek White, man.
Peyton Pritchard doesn't miss. They're just so annoying. Scotty, if you just took that on paper, right? Let's say Tatum was Embiid. You flip, you put those role players on the Sixers or those other guys on the Sixers. If you were missing Embiid and let's just say who's Harford accountable to, right? Like Batum, we'll just say, right? You're missing Embiid and Batum. And we had Drew Holiday, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. I mean, it's still a good team, but that is not a starting lineup that you're like, whoa, gotta watch out. They are fucking frustrating, man. Yeah, no, I'm not. I agree, Marshall. I'm not scared of anybody with the way this dude's playing, the way Maxey's playing, this depth. Daryl's adding. Whether it is Levine or OG, whether it's role pieces. I don't know if you saw the Brian Windhorst quote, Scotty, but he said, just wait till Philly adds more shooters, ... and they will be.
Yeah.
So whatever that means, however Nick Nurse is going to move around this rotation, there's going to be a player or two that is playing in this playoff rotation that we don't even know yet. So I'm not scared of anybody, but
I'm not necessarily scared of Boston. I just think it's one of those things where we don't have the right to be asking for Boston.
No.
Bring the Celtics. I don't think we have the right to say that.
No,
quite honestly.
No. You know what it would be like?
It would be like now teammate in the world for.
It would be like now teammate Marcus Morris with Embiid back in 2017 when we won Game 4, and Marcus Morris was just pointing to the that they were up 3-1. That's what it would be like. Like if we were asking for Boston, it would be like, bro, we've lost every time. Like we can't be asking for anyone.
Exactly. It ain't gonna be Sam Hauser or any of those guys. It's gonna be Al Horford.
Yep. We'll see. We shall see.
Al
Right?
Horford. Maybe he can break that. Maybe that's all part of
Break that
the
curse.
process, right? Breaking the spell or
Hey,
pinnacle.
I hear
Maybe
you.
it's against
I
Al
hear
Horford.
you.
Maybe it's against
Exercise those demons.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is, let's exercise them in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Why do I got to get them before the Eastern
Yeah.
Conference Finals every year? Every year.
Good on it. Good on it.
God.
Try something different, man.
Yeah.
Let me get the Hawks again in the second round or something.
Exactly. Let me get the Magic. Let the Magic win.
There we go.
The Magic in
Magic.
the second round. Fuck out of here.
Yeah. No, I don't know.
Anyway.
I feel Marshawn Lynch. Like the Celtics, out of all years, I think no Marcus Smart, right? Like those gritty guys that kind of made the difference last year. I mean, they do have Derek White. He's a little annoying, but I don't know. They look a lot more beatable than in the past, but maybe I'm saying that blindly.
No, they are. Listen, they've still been maybe the best team in the league to start this year.
Yeah,
but
to be fair,
the depth is not there. Even though Pritchard has nights and the depth isn't there. Kristaps does not have playoff experience like that. And all I'll say is we'll see what Jaylen Brown looks like at times throughout the year. So right now, Jaylen Brown's on a tear. At other times, Jaylen Brown can't dribble with his left hand. So we'll see just what they look like come that time, man. But you do have a matchup versus the Raptors tonight, Nick Nurse's old team at home. Another opportunity for the Sixers to add to the win column tonight, Scotty, just real quick. Will they get their 20th win tonight?
Yeah, I think so. Let me just see. They're at home tonight too. So yeah, I'll take the Sixers at home. I don't know if they'll cover the 9-point spread. Depends on. Looks like everybody's healthy for Toronto, but
yeah,
I don't know. It depends, right? Robert
out.
Covington, game time decision. DeAnthony Melton, game time decision.
The two out.
You can beat those guys. You can beat this team without them, though.
I agree. And this is just for whatever reason, it seems like they have the talent there. Obviously, maybe missing Fred VanVleet a lot this year, but 11-16 on the year for the Raptors, bro. 3-8 on the road.
Yeah.
So something is no longer clicking between the group of Pascal and OG and Scotty Barnes and whatever. But yeah, we shall see, man. Second part of the show, last part of the show. Not even sure I'm mentally prepared for this conversation. Eagles Giants Christmas Day. Obviously, we're going to get into this a little bit right now because why? Well, Scotty and I will not be live on Christmas Day, as I'm sure you guys are all busy just like the rest of us. So we're going to talk about it now, man. Where to begin, I don't know. The bottom line here is you have to win out if you want any chance at the division. And you also have to win out if you want this fan base to even have a ounce of belief in you come playoff time. And it starts on Monday at home, Christmas Day against Tommy DeVito. I mean, this is just the closest thing to a must win versus a bad team. Like when we talk about must wins, who's it normally against, Scotty? Better competition, right?
Yeah.
In a more meaningful atmosphere. This is a must win because you cannot afford to drop this game. You can't afford to drop the Cardinals game. You can't afford any of it. So it starts on Monday. Avonte Maddox, obviously, I don't believe he's going to play Monday, but he is back in practice. Hope will be back come playoff time at least. So that's obviously a beautiful thing to see, man. Jaylen feeling better, obviously, at the podium, but where's your mindset, man, heading into Christmas Day?
Yeah, I mean, I'll stand on what I said on Wednesday, as far as like my main point from taking away from this 3-game skid and where the Eagles are at right now. I still think 49ers are the best team in the NFL. I think that they are the most complete team in the NFL, and I think they have the best chance and winning the Super Bowl and winning the NFC. Ultimately, I'll stand on that. But what I will say is that, while I was feeling, very down and Obviously, the Eagles losing to the Seahawks, the way they lost against Drew Lock on the road to a 6-7 team at the time, it wasn't a great feeling, and it was definitely the bottom of the trash can feeling of this season. I would say it is obviously the worst part of the season that we've seen, and maybe the worst part
Correct.
that we've seen in 2 years, right, since the 2021 season. But to put it all back in perspective, man, I brought myself back down to earth. I'm not saying that I am, out here steamrolling, saying the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Like I said, I'm going to stand on the 49ers, but I do think, once again, the Eagles still should be considered in that, top 3, top 4 contenders in the NFL. It's just
Absolutely.
It's the way it is.
Let's get that right.
While we're down on this team, I think, let's put it into perspective. We're down on them from number 1 to maybe like number 4 right now. Number 5.
I would say 3. I would say 3. I'm not putting the Detroit Lions
not super down. And, there are highlights throughout history of different teams going through stretches like this and then overcoming. I will say the 3 games you have left, it's kind of a blessing, right? You get the Giants, you get the Cardinals, you get the Giants again. It's the perfect 3 games to get your shit together before.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what they need to do in this game. I'm not looking at how they beat the Giants, although, to your point, just get a fucking win, because that's the most important. But I am looking at how they beat the Giants. I am looking for them
absolutely agree.
At home to dominate this team. You need to have a dominating game. It will not change the perspective lost in the last 3 games.
No.
But it is something that you need to do. You need to beat them. The spread is like 13.5 right now.
Go cover.
I would love to see them cover that spread, man. They need to.
I'm pretty sure we're one of the worst teams against the spread this year.
We need a bounce back game from Jalen Hurts. We need a bounce back game from that offense. And I would love to see the defensive line get after the quarterback in this game, man. Do what you're supposed to.
Did Marshawn Lynch have like a coming to Jesus moment or something?
Yeah, I'm glad.
Look at Mr. Positivity in the comments.
I'm glad.
Look at
I'm glad I'm not the only one here, man. Yeah, I appreciate it. Because it's not all rainbows and sunshines by any means. And like we said, we've been knocked down a peg on the measurement scale. But put things in perspective. There are, 29 teams that would trade positions from where the Eagles are right now and where their team is right now. The Eagles are still slated to win the NFC East and at least get the second seed in the NFC.
Which technically could work out better for them, right?
It could work out better for them, man.
Right.
It's at the end of the day, what can we say? Look, what is reality, right? Reality is they've lost 3 games in a row, and the last one looked really bad in the way that they lost. All 3 looked really bad in the way that they lost, and let's be honest. What is also reality is that the 49ers are still the team that is standing in the Eagles' way.
Yeah, like let's not.
You know what I mean?
Jump the gun and just excuse what has happened.
Before, even if we thought the Eagles would beat the 49ers, it was still the 49ers that are the team to beat for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Even if we believe that they would lose to the 49ers are still the team to beat for the Eagles.
Correct.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
It does make you think, man. Obviously, I was incredibly hard on them Wednesday, and I still am, man. Like, I have a lot of frustrations kept about this team, but it does make you think. Like, we do sound a little bit like spoiled babies, right? Like, we go through definitely a rough patch. Like, not many great teams, lose 3 games in the fashion, 2 blowouts and a ridiculous heartbreaker on Monday night. Like, things like that don't always occur.
Yeah, people, talking about trading AJ Brown. And, I think that's what put me into perspective. Yeah. I think that's what brought me back down.
I'm incredibly frustrated with AJ Brown's reaction to fans after losses, but to sit here and suggest that we don't need him and trade him, he's all right, let's stop there. Right? I do think, though, for talking about Monday, I think this comment by Brett is key. It does matter a bit how they win.
Yeah.
If they don't cover the spread, they win by 10, they win by 12. No one's bitching and complaining about that, right? They don't have to cover the spread. It'd be nice to see them actually do it this year, but it doesn't matter from that perspective. But you cannot win Monday and it be like an escaping 20-14, 20-17 win over Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
The defensive line not getting to DeVito, the offense continuing to struggle with play calling, but they win. No, you need to look like a functioning fucking team on Monday for as close to 60 minutes as you can get. Because here's where we started to get confused Monday before being brought back down to a little bit of reality on that final drive. Not that that's the reality I want to live in. The problem was we led for 58 and a half minutes. Yeah. And we thought, wow, we're playing a 60-minute. No, we weren't. The offense was not playing anywhere near a 60-minute performance.
Yeah.
Right? No. So we got confused for the first 58 minutes. Like, wow, like they got ahead early. They're holding on to the lead, but that was not a clean performance by any stretch. And then it bit them in the ass at the end.
So many times they could have went up by 14,
man,
by 10 points.
Marshall Lynch, I'm glad you're back, bro. I'm glad you're positive. No, absolutely not. They have to.
They need to put up 30 points, man. They need to put up 30 points. I think that, offensively, a goal. And I think defensively, you just need to shut everything down. They have no right to kill you.
You need to at least. I mean, Jesus Christ, we haven't scored more than 20 in the last 3 or 4 weeks in the entire month of December. Yeah. You have to at least go out there and get like.
Can we get
24 to 30? And 24 is still low. Like 27, 30.
Touchdowns, 4 touchdowns. Like, can we have one of those games?
Right.
Like, perspective again. San Fran. 42 to 10 or 42, to whatever. Right. They've scored 40 points several times throughout this season. Once again, not like trying to say, it's not this head-to-head competition on who can score more each week and everything, but can we have one of those games? Can we do that? Are we capable of doing that? Because this is a team that the Eagles should do this to. There's been several teams this season that we believe the Eagles should have done this type of dominating performance against, and they haven't. Can you finally show it? I'm looking directly at Jalen Hurts as well, man. I think we can look, obviously, directly at the offense. Nick Sirianni, Brian Johnson, Jalen Hurts. But I'm looking at Jalen Hurts, right? Can you bounce back from, like, I would say your worst performance of the season, but the Jets was probably worse. And you were sick in this game. So I'll take a little bit off of that rating compared to the Jets where he was healthy, right? But can you come out in this game, make the throws that you need to, but also just play safe in a sense? Like, not take away the big plays and not go for, A.J. Brown long touchdown. Maybe not as often, right? I'm not asking to not take any risks, but just not turn the ball up. Can we have a clean game offensively? No fumbles, no interceptions. Can we do that? And that's what I'm asking for the Eagles. Like Marshall Lynch said, we don't want to go on a 4-game losing streak, so the main thing is win the game. But like you said, I think there is style points to be had here in order to instill, I don't want to say instill some confidence, but it would. It just would. Like, I'd be lying. It sucks for me to say that against the fucking New York Giants with Tommy Cutlets. But a dominating win would reinstill some faith back in me. Like, not going to go out here and ram the table that they're going to beat the 49ers, of course. But I'll be back on the wagon, man. Like, I will. Beat them 30 to 10.
It instills that belief in you that they
can do this,
are that team again, right? And they, like, that's the point. I need to see you starting to clean up what's been in your way, right? And it does start with Jalen. That was our number one culprit from Monday night. He has to be better. The turnovers have to go away. You cannot continue to miss underneath reads. You cannot continue to just use the boundary and ignore the middle of the field. But it trickles on down, right? Yeah. Nick Sirianni's game plan, man. If I still see the same 3 route concepts and these long developing plays, Brian Johnson handing the ball off on 3rd and long in the red zone, if those things do not get cleaned up, I don't care if you beat the New York Giants on Christmas Day. Yeah. If you still are showing me these ugly same red flags and you win 21-17, I don't care. What faith does that instill in me that you could go and beat the San Francisco 49ers in San Fran in January?
Yeah.
You have to win the game. You don't got to dominate the game for 60 minutes. You don't got to be perfect. You have to start to show me you see what your issues are, and we are intently working on them.
Yeah, I agree.
To get better and win.
I agree. I think when you look back at this Seahawks loss, you obviously can point at Brian Johnson. You can point at Nick Sirianni. I think where it came to a head and where it became so frustrating is because Jalen Hurts fell into it. And if Jalen Hurts, forget Sirianni, forget the 3rd and 6 run inside the red zone, right?
Forget looking for a PI call on the last play of the game.
If Jalen Hurts makes the right decisions, the Eagles win that game regardless. Like, regardless of the play calls, regardless of anything else happening in that game,
if
Jalen Hurts makes the right choices, they win that game against the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So
if he just chooses not to throw those 2 balls.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't happen. If he, especially the second one is a little more head scratching because you had time and timeouts and you only need the field goal. But the first one is the one that lost you the game. Because if you don't do that, you're a couple yards away from adding on another field goal, and even potentially scoring, melting more time off the clock. Like, that's the one that lost you the game. The final one was more head scratching. The issue, to Marshall Lynch's point, man, you've watched the show all year long with us. You know how I feel about Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson's offense. It's a fucking disaster. Yeah. However, to Scotty's point, when Jalen misses Devontae Smith streaking over the middle of the field on 3rd down because he wants to force, that's not on the play calling.
Yeah.
The Quez decision, I'm highly doubting that was read number 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you wanted to take a shot. Yeah. So, it's a mixture of both, man. It is a mixture of both. But now, again, you are playing a Giants team that has Tommy DeVito under center. They're pretty good defensively still, man. And you look at them and, no Cam Jurgens most likely, I think.
Yeah.
No Landon Dickerson.
Cam Jurgens
is he back?
Is questionable. I want to say he was a full participant in practice on yesterday or the day before. Avonte Maddox definitely was a full participant because that one surprised me. I agree, Marsh. At the end of the day, players over schemes. There were plays to be made in that Seahawks game. You could have made them and won that game. I do agree with that. And just looking at the Giants as well, just history, right? We've had some tough games against the Giants. Jalen even, maybe not last year, but the year before that. Had a tough stretch against the Giants. So just don't.
There's also another Jalen on that team by the name of Jalen Reagor, though.
It's your rivalry, right? Like, it's your rival in division, regardless of their record. Don't take them lightly. Come out here and
it's Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's Christmas Day. Put on a show for your fans. You're at home. You're in the all black. Let's ruin the Giants' Christmas.
Yeah.
And the only way you can do that, a 20-17 victory over the Giants doesn't ruin Giants fans' Christmas. No. 50-6 ruins the Giants' Christmas. I know that's crazy. I'm not asking for 50 points, but
I need a 2017 Denver Broncos game, right?
Yeah. I need something of that nature. Thump. Something. But I think, looking at, Jalen Hurts' press conference the other day, I think that gave me a little bit more faith, the willingness to take the accountability for, what happened in that game. He
took it
all on his chin.
That's great.
Yeah, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah. That's where we're at, right?
But I think what I've realized as I'm watching the press conferences, listening to Sirianni, listening to Jalen, listening to some of the other guys on this team, it's like, don't forget who these guys are, right? Like, the reason that these last 3 games were miserable is because that is not who these players are. That is not what they put on the table, what they put on the field. And same with Sirianni. Like, we've had stretches with this offense where we question fucking everything. but he has gotten us to the playoffs 3
Yeah.
straight years since he came to this team, and
Hey, bro.
he does. I do like him. You know what I mean? Like I like.
Yeah, I
I
love
like
Nick the
this team. I
person.
love this team.
I love Nick the person.
But
His
they need
press
to answer the
conference
call.
answers were a disaster.
They
Like the
were.
fact that you
They were.
stood by the last throw and said we were hopeful for a pit. What?
That was that
What?
was bad. Yeah.
I don't understand how you can make an adjustment on the defensive side of the ball because you find it necessary, but you can. And I know, like, you're not just going to throw yourself or Brian Johnson under the bus. Like, he's falling on the sword for Brian Johnson. It needs to be directed towards me. That's cool.
And
But why are we not? Why are we not saying, like, yeah, we need to fix things on offense? We're just saying, no, we're going to keep nothing's coming off. What?
He's like to that Doug Peterson snarky answer stage, man, and I hated seeing Doug.
You know what I needed, though, on Monday night? Speaking of this comment, the all-black unis, I needed Kelly Green versus the Giants red, like the old school, the all red jerseys. That's the uniform matchup I needed on Monday night. We're not getting it. Last thing before we go here, because I do believe we are going to pre-record a little bit of a pregame live for everybody on Christmas. So we'll give predictions there. But James Bradberry, there's a lot of conversation going on Twitter. And man, I am not defending James Bradberry. I'm not, trust me, I'm not. And you may disagree with me. But for all that is effing holy on this holiday, can I stop seeing tweets about how you'd rather have Keely Ringo and Eli Ricks playing in the postseason than James Bradberry? I'm not saying he's not washed. I'm not saying he hasn't lost a step, whatever. Guys, like, this is where our fan base bothers me. Like, you guys just forget so quickly because they had a good game against Drew Lock and Bradberry didn't against DK on the final drive. You guys do forget, like, when we lined up Eli Ricks one-on-one with CeeDee Lamb in Philadelphia, what happened, right? You guys do realize Keely Ringo played Drew Lock in one game. And yeah, he looked good. I'm not saying... Dude, I don't care. I don't care if they held him for negative yards.
Bradberry is like, I was surprised by the numbers that I've seen, but arguably one of the worst corners in the NFL by the numbers. It's honestly astonishing because when you watch the games, it really, I don't know. I guess
listen,
it got
man,
highlighted against Seattle, but I just don't remember this season where, specific games where Bradberry's just been torched like he was against Seattle. I do feel you. I mean, at the end of the day,
the one game Dallas or San Fran, he wasn't even targeted. And I'm not saying that's a good thing because they got torched in both, so other guys were getting torched. He had an awful game. I'm not excusing it. I'm not saying I want him out there. What I'm saying is, man, it is fucking absurd that we're sitting here. I'd rather have Slay, Ringo, and Ricks as my starting corner.
I would consider Ringo. I would. It's not gonna happen.
I'm sorry, man.
But I would, if you get Avonte Maddox back, you have Slay, Ringo, and Avonte Maddox as your 3 starters. I would consider it, man. But obviously, it's not going to happen. It's like not even worth proposing by fans. Like that's why I haven't said anything about it. But I don't know. I get it. Like experience over non-experience with Ringo and Eli Ricks, and I don't know. He's been one of the worst, man. Like seeing him get burned. And then thinking back to the Super Bowl, him being the guy that had the holding call in the Super Bowl as well, it's like maybe it is a bigger problem than what we've realized. Like if Debo is coming out and calling him trash and he's starting to fit the description, I am not
mad at the James Bradberry hate, but I completely disagree with who we think can step in and just fill the spot. Like,
I
y'all
just think
really
the
think
unknown could
that
be
one
better
game
than
of
the
Keely
known.
Ringo against Drew Lock, and I know Bradbury. And here's the other thing. Again, oh man, this is painful because I'm not excusing what the dude did.
Like, why did they pick on him instead of Ringo or
They
Ricks or Roby or
they
anybody
picked
else?
on him,
Why him?
sure, but I don't even know how he missed it, Scotty. But if he just picks that ball off in the beginning of the drive, we're not even having this conversation. If I'm being honest, if we want to go back and watch the plays, he got burnt on the JSN touchdown. Inexcusable. There was another play he was trailing. At least 3 of the throws, he was on DK Metcalf's hip.
That's fair.
What do we want to do? I'm not excusing the touchdown at all that you lost the game on. But, like, let's stop acting like he, like, tripped over his own 2 feet and fell down against DK Metcalf.
It's, for me, I guess the idea is that in general, I think this defense is just slow. I think they're slow.
I agree.
Think they're
I agree.
partially old. And I think just putting some younger legs on the field would do some justice. Maybe it's not bench Bradbury. Maybe it's, give guys more snaps and spots. Like, maybe that's what it is rather. But I do think there is a world where, maybe Bradbury towards the end of the season, maybe he can get that last game off against the Giants or something. I don't know if they're in position.
Yeah, I don't know what his problem is. And maybe he is washed,
but,
and we're sitting here like, man, that's a bad contract by Howie. But think about this. This is just how crazy the world of sports is, man. If the offense doesn't give the ball back, we're not having this conversation. Again, it's not an excuse for James Bradbury. At the end of the day, you're on the field. You have to make plays or not do what you did. Yeah. But,
And I do think there is a world where this Eagles team, man, they got up 10-1 on the season. You're just about locked into the postseason, and you are coming off a Super Bowl loss. You're just trying to get back to the Super Bowl. I think there is a world where we could see them hit another level in the playoffs as well, man. I think there's a lot of different things that, day-to-day, instant reaction, we can't, with our emotions built up and what we just saw, we can't accept excuses.
I agree.
But there are plenty.
I wholeheartedly agree.
With the flu, traveling across the country on a Monday Night Football game to Seattle, where you're 1-10 against Seattle in the last 20 years, right? 3 games in 15 days against, the 2 of the best teams in the NFL. There's so many excuses. The Eagles have the toughest schedule in the NFL, right? Like, I could keep going. We don't have time for all the excuses. We don't need to acknowledge all the excuses. No. But I do think there is room to believe that they could hit another level in the postseason. Once again,
absolutely.
Gonna stand on my take from Wednesday. 49ers have overcame them.
Lynch.
But
nobody's conceding a loss to the Niners. And just wait when we get to that moment.
No, it's not like that. I think
pregame's going to look like.
If we go into a game against the Niners rightfully so should be favored in that game.
That's what I would say. I think
mean that I'm taking the Eagles.
I think today, before seeing any changes with the Eagles, whatever, I think today, if you said you would take the Eagles over the Niners, you sound silly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying as a fan, game day, of course.
If you want to say
what the passion's going to be like.
By the time they could play them in the playoffs, that they'll be ready.
Yeah,
then I'll take that. But saying if they played them right now in San Fran,
no, they get their doors blown off today.
We'll see what San Fran looks like against Baltimore on Monday night. That's another great team, physical team. See what they match up against them like. But
hey, man, I do not disagree, and it's what I thought would kind of happen the first time around. And I hear your point. The issue isn't with the Niners, though, brother. Because now the conversation has turned to Nick Sirianni might get in our way, or Brian Johnson might get in our way.
Yeah,
or
we do not have a coaching advantage.
Like we don't have that advantage like we had in past where Mike McCarthy's going to trip up or Shanahan's going to be too smart for his own good. We have internal issues with the staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, man. So we will see. We will see what they can do on Monday night. Monday afternoon, I guess I should say,
That's
on
right.
Christmas Day. Guys, that is going to wrap up this Friday edition of the Faithful Fanatic Show. As always, if you are new to the channel, if you like the content, make sure to support by smashing that subscribe button. We greatly, greatly appreciate each and every one of you in the comment section every day with us. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your holidays with your family, your friends, whatever your plans are. Scotty, make sure to go get Rocket that dinner plate. But for myself, for Scotty, for DSM, have a great rest of your weekend.
Peace, everybody.